What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're getting back on the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. And before we get into the bike today, I want to talk about today's sponsor, and that's Oxydo LED. If you guys haven't checked out the website yet to see what you can find for your vehicle, or even looked online to check out the reviews of all the thousands of people that have invested in Oxydo LED, purchased their lights, and became a really happy customer, man, you guys have got to go there and check it out. So if you don't mind, check out the link down below, and don't forget to use SV Cruise, a coupon code, to get 50% off your purchase. And without further ado, let's go ahead, get back into this bike, and figure out what else is wrong with it. So last night, after I got done doing the recording of the first video on this bike, I decided to take some time and look at the schematics of this bike and the makings of it, what goes where and whatnot. I did find that each one of these butterflies, they work very, very well. They're moving very well. They're not sticking, so that's good. I'm pretty sure the butterflies are good because those don't stick. They snap back pretty good, so I don't have any problems with that. I don't know about the fuel injector, not injectors, the fuel jets in each one of the carbs. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to take the carburetor off. But before I take the carburetor off, I'm going to put power to this bike, because what I didn't know was on this 2000 model, I thought, I really was under the impression that all bikes that have carburetors don't have fuel pumps. But what I'm seeing here is this thing's got a fuel pump and fuel filter.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So if it's got a fuel line, fuel filter, this goes into a pump and gets pushed back out into here, and this supplies fuel for everything. Well, this is a fuel assist, so it doesn't starve this engine of fuel while it's running. Another thing I noticed, there's a lot of stuff I noticed when I opened it up. As for these air intakes, there's actually, it's incomplete. There's parts of this bike that are missing. There's an entire air box in the front of the bike that this wraps around to and hooks into. What I've noticed is this pipe here, this is for emissions, guys. Whoever was in here last basically did an emissions delete on this entire engine. This pipe here, this is exposed. There's nothing to it. I don't know exactly how everything goes. This hose is exposed. It just branches over. I'll show you guys here in a minute with the GoPro. And there's oil all across the top of this engine. But there's also piping. I don't know if you guys can see that back there. I'm trying to, well, you guys got a good light. Let's try this. Oh, mucho bueno. Alright, hopefully you guys can see this. But you see, I'm going to point an arrow at what I'm talking about right here. This hose branches over, it connects to the actual valve cover, and it's like a breather. And there's a little copper bridge that's right there. And as you guys can see, it's held on by zip ties on both sides. You know, and that's unacceptable. The zip tie there. There's a zip tie on this. There were zip ties that hold certain parts together, and it's not supposed to be held together with zip ties, guys. Look at this. Okay, that is not stock. Right here is an emissions component. There's a little hose that goes right here. It's about this long, and then this goes to a valve. A valve vacuum switch, something like that. what that does, it's considered a California edition. California Switzerland edition. Whenever it connects to a valve, that valve connects to a silencer. And what that does is whenever you're in the process of deceleration, it acts the same thing as like an EGR valve does. And it recirculates all of the exhaust gases that make it into the cylinders that don't get burned off, so they get recycled back into the intake. And somehow it makes it back into here, and this feeds directly back into the carburetors somehow. I don't know, I haven't seen how this works, but I know these go back into the carburetor. This has to do something with these components here, all three of these. You know what? Hold on a second. It's shaped. You know what? I like puzzles. Let me put this together. So these ends are two different sizes. You know what? Throttle cable. This goes up inside here. You know what? I bet you that goes in there. It fits about right. And it's shaped to go up and over this. And that's shaped to go up and over that. And it's a perfect curvature of this bike. The wiring harness comes out. There would be that other sensor in there, but which has been since deleted. So this, there's a hose that's supposed to branch around over here, hook up to this, and recycle it back in. That's what that's for. Hold on. I like puzzles. I've never worked on one of these bikes before, so if I'm missing some stuff, forgive me, guys. Let's check this out. Okay, so that would be right there. And this is out of the way. Put there. And that will go on here. And this will connect to that. So that's how that works. This hose, I just now figured out where this hose goes. I've been trying to figure out where it goes. I didn't know where this came from, so I went on Partzilla last night and I looked at the schematic. Schematic. How's that for a word, guys? Schematic. Ugh, that is a disgusting filter. I looked at the parts, what they're labeled as, where they go, and I learned a lot about this bike. And apparently this thing had a lot of emissions stuff in here. I did have a chat with Josh last night, and he did say that they did rebuild the carburetors, and he also had it on a dyno. So it tells me they did a lot of work inside here. Now this is going to be deleted, so we're going to totally eliminate that hose altogether. And I'm going to get a cap and put it over this and seal it off, because we're not going to use this exhaust gas recirculation system. Here, I'm going to put a cap over that, and as for this down here, what I'm going to fix is this here. I'm going to get rid of these zip ties and this tubing, whatever the hell that is. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Unless that's copper, I guess it can stay. But at least we're gonna have the proper clamps for this, because zip ties is absolutely unacceptable. But I gotta find out where this comes from. I need to figure out where all that oil is coming from, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. That's unnecessary. This goes here, it looks like. I don't know. I'll figure the rest of that out. But let me go ahead and get the battery. We're going to hook this thing up to power, and I want to see what it does. It still has some fuel in this line here, and if I can get it to fire, it might tell me some more before I continue. Alright, so while my other self is going inside to get the battery, I decided to bring the tank out here, and I'm going to try my best to empty out all this fuel. At least try to. That doesn't look like a solid flow. That looks more there we go.
Two hours later.
Now that we're done with the fuel and we got that all squared away, now it's time to put some power to this thing and see what happens. All right, positive. Run that up. Boop, and then negative. That negative does not want to work with me. It wants to fight me, but I will win. All right. Okay, we got power. Nothing. Oh, it's a strong battery. Okay. Well, we had problems with that before, couldn't get it to work. What could be disconnected that could prevent it from starting? The tip over sensor is in the right spot. Let's try this. No? I guess I had it right. Yeah, by the way, this is your tip over sensor. Either this one or this one. I can't remember which. But I believe they are in the right position. Let me see if I can help it along with some starter fluid. I know I got some. Excuse me. All right, we're gonna try again. Starter fluid. I'm gonna open the butterflies. That should get something going. Well, she wants to do something. Okay, so okay, that's with just starter fluid. There seems to be no gas going from that filter. Not filter, from the pump. Try that again. Drink up, you beast. No backfire, no nothing, that's good. Okay. Alright, well, at least I know the ignition is working fine. It is going to be a fuel flow issue. My concern might be this fuel pump altogether. I will be taking the carbs off anyway, but I want to check out that fuel pump. I want to see if it's getting power or if it's working right. Alright, clearly we heard the bike. It wants to start, it will run. However, it is failing to get fuel from the fuel pump. Now I'm assuming that fuel pump's not turning on. I'm pretty sure I should be able to hear it turn on or something. I'm not even hearing clicking. From any relay. You can hear the click come from here. That's good. Hold on a second. Okay, so I can feel that pump working, so that's good. I'm still gonna check it anyway on my multimeter to make sure that I'm getting good power to it. Let me turn this off so I don't kill the battery. All right, hold on a second. Let me get that plug undone, and then I'm gonna check the motor windings. Okay, you guys can see I got the prongs here on the actual plug to the starting, to the fuel pump. Got all zeros, fuel, the key off, key on, and I get numbers. Okay, I'm assuming that's gonna be good. It's negative, I don't understand that. Unless I'm doing it wrong. Probably am. But it's off. And then it goes back down to boop, 0. But if I do continuity, I got resistance in the line. And then it changes when it goes on. That's weird. Alright, let's check the motor itself. This ought to be fun. Alright, if the motor is bad, it will read open loop. If it is good, I should get a bunch of numbers for resistance. And I got numbers for resistance, so that means, and the key is off, so it's not like it's gonna matter because it's not plugged in. So this fuel pump is good. All right, well, that eliminates that. Means the relay is kicking in, the fuel pump is working. My question is that fuel pump clogged? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm gonna end up having to talk to Josh before I continue on with the rest of this. I'm gonna talk to him and see if he wants to replace this fuel pump and the fuel pump and the filter, because I mean when I plugged it in and touched it, I can feel it working. Okay, every time it goes to turn over, that pump is working. But I do know that the fuel jets that are inside these carbs, they are most likely clogged with something because it's not wanting to run right. So anyway, the search continues. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, it looks as though I am at a stopping point. I've already run my multimeter along the electrical part of the fuel system, and that seems to be working right. The fuel pump is working, I can feel it, but the fuel filter itself, I don't know how old that is, so I'm going to end up having that changed. As you guys were able to see, I was on Partzilla earlier. I was just shopping around. It's going to be about $108 to get just the seals done on here. Since there's a lot of oil leakage up here, I don't know exactly where it's coming from. It looks like it's coming from everywhere, and not just like on one side of the engine or the other. It's coming from freaking everywhere. It looks similar to a situation when I had the oil leak coming from the valve covers on my truck. The technology that they use for the valve covered bolts is a rubber O-ring built onto the actual bolt itself. And on my truck, they were reused and they were broken, so they weren't torqued correctly, which is allowing oil to get past the valve cover gasket, which allowed oil to just seep out and just leak everywhere. Well, I ended up replacing all of the bolts. Instead of just the gasket, I replaced the damn bolts too. Well, I don't know if that's what kind of technology they're using on these bolts, so just in case, I went on Partzilla and I found the O-rings for this, so I'm going to replace those and the valve cover gasket. Along with some of this half-ass stuff that they got done in here, I'm going to clean all that up as well. Now, before I get these carburetors off, which they look like they're going to be kind of challenging taking off, I'll get them. Before I take this off and get into the rest of this, I am going to hop on the phone and I'm going to call the owner, and I want to see what direction he wants to go with all this, and see what he wants to do with the parts. Hell, I took off the last bit of the emissions. Ain't gonna need that. I'm gonna put caps over these so that I've got caps over here. Put caps over those, and he won't have to mess with that anymore. But yeah, as of right now, I'm at a standstill until I get further permission from the owner, Josh, and we'll see where things go from there. So if you guys happen to like the content of this video, which there really wasn't much, but it was a video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys sticking around for another episode of SP Cruiser. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I love you. Good night. Okay, Josh, don't freak out. It's okay. It's worse than it looks.